I am really, really excited to talk to some of the guys that I don't know and have met just for the first time today, but it's going to be an exciting, exciting show. So before we begin, I want to send a special shout out to my homegirl, Florence Carter, all the way in Miami, Florida. Happy birthday. I hope you are having an amazing day today, and wishing you much love and much success, and enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your birthday. So today, I have with me Calhoun City, Mississippi, and Alabama. What y'all know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we here live.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Good.
Doing
Good. Man, it's so good to connect with you guys once again. I think I've met everybody on here except Mike Wortham and Justin, who you guys will get to know in a few minutes. I definitely have met Mike and Zack, and when I tell you some beast of musicians, these guys, you all ain't heard steel playing and guitar playing until you listen to these guys play live. And let me tell you, it's one thing to play, but I've witnessed being around a lot of these guys playing. I'm talking like the most humble, the most cool, collected individuals and spiritual individuals, but just very just down to earth people you ever want to meet. So I'm really, really excited to share all these guys with you all today. How y'all doing?
Good.
Y'all good?
Oh yeah. I'm great.
Good. So I guess I'll start with Mike Wortham. How you doing, man? It was, man, we talked about a week or two ago. We had the best conversation. I think we talked about a good 2 hours.
Yes, a good 2 hours. Yes, I can talk. I think everybody in the nation knows I love to talk.
we had a good talk. How you doing?
Doing good.
So tell them where you from and what you play.
Well, I'm from Calhoun City, Mississippi, born and raised.
Okay.
I play the steel, but my heart has always been a lead guitar. Man,
wow.
You know, man, the people don't know I can't play a lick, but I always love and ask God to give me the lead guitar, but He did not give it to me.
Wow.
So, yes, because that was one of my heart that was broken. It was broken because, you know, James Wofford and Joe and Zack them. I mean, you know, and my son, you know, Cornelius Wortham, you know, if they start playing, I mean, they could play. I mean, they could play well, Mike.
Right.
But God didn't give me the lead, Dante.
Right.
I don't know why. I fast forward. I mean, listen, I lay flat on my face, and my mom pour oil on me, but God did not give it to me.
Wow.
No, he didn't. So He told me it's the steel. So I know that God gave me the steel.
Steel guitar.
So man, when I realized that the lead guitar was not going to be my gift and my anointing, that's when my steel, you know, began to blossom. You know, I said, okay, God, I accept it.
Right.
I accept it because I always wanted to play a lead guitar, and
man.
But listen, I thank God for what He gave me.
So if you all have never heard Brother Mike Wortham play, you're missing a treat. So I have to give a special shout out to Brenda Wofford, who always, I've never seen anybody, especially a pastor, show that much love to musicians. And we were talking beforehand. Mike Tyner said, man, I don't care where she is. If it's some music going, she going live. So special shout out and love to you, Pastor Wofford. You are. I would have never known about Mike Wortham if I never watched your platform and the good music that you record. Thank you so much, and making this even happen, helping me make this happen. So let me go around. Mike Tyner, man. Tell him who you are, where you from, and what you do, man.
Mike Tyner, born and raised in Troy, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
I stay in Montgomery. I reside in Montgomery, Alabama. I start off on drums like most all musicians. Move to guitar, and I play a little bass every now and then. But other than that, guitar is my primary instrument. I don't consider myself to be the best, but I try to hold it in the road.
Oh man, you do it, man. This guy, he's being humble right now. But he's a monster on guitar. He is nice on guitar. He's nice on guitar. And since I'm with the guitar players, let me go ahead and go to Zack Wofford, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How about yourself, man?
I'm good, man. So tell them who you are, what you do, where you from, how you got started.
Well, I'm Zack Wofford. Born and raised in Calhoun City, Mississippi. I grew up, like Mike said, like pretty much everybody that come from the Church of the Living God, when they're little, they grow up starting off on drums. Anyway, I'm the son of a drummer, so
wow.
I grew up playing, and growing up, we had a lot of great musicians in front of me. So my dad bought me my first guitar at the age of 9, and I didn't go to any school. I just watched. I watched great musicians, my uncle, James Wofford, my cousin Jamel, and I watched Andrew Bynum. He taught me my foundation of playing. And when he moved down here in the early 90s, he actually lived with us for a while. And like it used to be times where I had school the next morning and we would be up all night playing. You know, he was showing me things, showing me stretch chords, and I would go to school the next morning, palm on my hands be hurting. But then I was so young, I had to wait my turn, so I played a little bass. I little bass around when Joe and Andrew was playing. And when Joe passed away, hey, God moved me right into playing guitar.
Wow. So it just flows all in the family, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Wow. Well, we're gonna come back to that, man. You mentioned the name, we definitely gonna come back to. Justin Wofford, how you doing, man?
Good, I'm good.
Tell them who you are, man, what you do.
I'm Justin Wofford. I'm from Kansas City, Mississippi. I play the drums.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I see you on the videos, man. I know we've never met, but yeah, man, y'all hold it down.
Yeah,
How did you get started? Who were your influences growing up?
I got started about 5 years old. I come up under my daddy.
Okay.
And after that, I started learning from Deacon Mike. Started learning things from him, and then Bishop Burns. That was one of my favorites.
Yes.
I started learning a lot from Bishop Burns, and then when Joe moved down here, he started showing me different stuff, learning from him. So it's really a lot of different people.
Wow.
They got different styles I learned from. I just put all of them in one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I love even younger drummers.
Right.
I learned a lot from them. Like Curtis, me and Curtis Chambers came up together. I learned a lot from Curtis and my little cousin Micaiah Traylor. Okay. I learned a lot from him just for him being a young musician. Hey, I enjoy listening to everybody, man.
Wow.
Because in Town City, we had so many musicians. You know, they just switch up. So you learn. You might have Joe Hanna on the steel. You might have Mike on the steel. You might have Andrew on the guitar, my brother on the guitar, my uncle on the guitar.
Right.
So you just really, everybody just flowing.
Right. Wow. That's some good stuff. Yeah, we had Curtis Chambers. You mentioned Curtis Chambers. We had him on when I talked to Ronnie and Gambiel.
Yeah.
And, say again?
I seen it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was awesome, man. Those guys, man. Whew.
Yes.
Just some talent.
Yes.
Some gifts. I think Andrew Bynum is still trying to connect with us, and hopefully we'll get him on. We'll hopefully get him on definitely at least while we're on this live, because we definitely want to hear from him. But I got my brother from another planet, Preacher Machine, playing machine, singing machine. What's going on, Teon?
What's going on, Dante?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Man, it's good to see you, man. It's good to see you.
Ditto.
So tell them who you are, man. I got to give a special shout out to your mother because she was also part of making this happen as well.
Really?
Mr. Bobby will shout you out. She wanted to make sure that I got you guys on, and I showed love to Calhoun City, and we made this happen. So yeah, man. So tell them who you are, Teon.
Yeah, I'm Teon Satterwhite. I'm born in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
I lived in Calhoun City when I was younger. I wasn't playing music then when I was younger, but like Mike and Zach and Justin said, I started out with the drums. That was my first love, playing the drums. Yeah. I used to watch my Uncle Emily, which is Zach and Justin's dad. He was a drummer when I was young, and I'll never forget. He told me one time we was having a revival in Tupelo, and Ronnie and Jay was playing, and I was playing the drums, and I was kind of nervous. And I remember Unc told me, whenever they start off, watch their feet to see how they want the rhythm to flow or whatever. And that's I still use that to this day. That stuck with me forever. Watch their feet to see what kind of rhythm they going. You know what I'm saying? So that stuck with me. So I started out playing the drums. I don't play the guitar to steel, but the keyboard. I fell in love with the keyboard, and I taught myself how to play the keyboard. YouTube. I started watching YouTube videos and watching keyboard tutorials, and that's how I started playing the keyboard, like in 2009, 2010. Yeah. So that's when it started. So yeah, that's what I play, and that's what I do.
Wow. And he's a preaching machine.
Oh yeah. Word machine.
He is a preaching machine.
Yeah, to God be the glory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I actually thought Mike was gonna say his first love was the drums, because he was a bad drummer. He was a bad drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he broke sticks every Sunday.
They telling on you, Mike.
I know.
Wow.
You know, man. Now everybody think that. I mean, that's my gift from birth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, man. I've been playing drums since I was a child. A baby. But the truth told, that my love is to lead guitar. I'm just telling you. Listen, my first instrument was a lead guitar.
Okay.
Yes, it wasn't a drum. It wasn't a steel, and I still have a nice lead guitar right now on the bed, and I can't play it.
Wow. 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 So I have to bring up because you guys have so much history in Mississippi. I know, just watching old tapes. Looks like Jamel's trying to chime in or log in as well. Hopefully we'll get him on as well. So Andrew and Jamel looks like they're trying to log in. So yeah, I seen a lot of tapes from back when, and I know there's some history in Mississippi, and Mike Wortham, I'm sure you can speak to some of the guys, and I know Justin mentioned one of them, that was Johanna. I mean, I witnessed just watching him. I know he passed away early on, but what a phenomenal musician, steel player, drummer. I mean, amazing. Tell me about him. If you guys got stories about him, I would love to know about him.
Well, then Joe is originally from Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
But all his roots is from Calhoun City, Mississippi.
Wow.
You know, even his dad, John Russell, he traveled with Chief for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like I said, his roots come from Calhoun City. His dad and mom, mm-hmm. And his grandmother. They you know, man, they're from this area. And then when he moved down here, that's when he began to you know, man, be a part of Calhoun City, and then he loved it down here. Mm-hmm. But listen, there's a lot of musicians that I want to just, you know, tell you that really, you know, man, got me into steel.
Okay.
First of all, Bishop L.R. Harrison. That was our baseline that we had to learn everything for. And then in Mississippi, we couldn't go nowhere else,
right,
and listen to nobody else. So man, our baseline, it was Bishop Harrison.
Right.
I didn't have the opportunity to hear the Beardens in the Felton and all that. No, we was told to stay in the Church of Living God and learn this music and learn it to perfection.
Right.
So until Del Rey allowed us to see all the other musicians, I said, wow. Now, because I didn't see nothing else but Bishop or Ronnie. But right, man, there's some more people. George Eddie Russell, Harold Wortham, I mean, they play the guitar.
Okay.
Paul Wortham.
Yes.
You see Orlando Russell, man, of course, Joe. It's just so many. James Wofford, so many. I mean, just, they really shape me who I am.
Right.
Sonny Treadway, Ronnie Mosique,
mm-hmm,
and even I got a son that plays real well. I mean, his name is Cornelius Wortham. He always keep me up with the, you know, young musician. I mean, he always calls, you know, man, he said, Dad, you know, man, you gotta get this now. I mean, he is a music machine,
mm-hmm,
and he always keep me in line.
Okay.
And I said, well, no, I'm gonna lay back on the old style. He said, no, Daddy, you know, man, you're gonna have to come on with this right here. So, you know, that's, you know, it's some, and Andrew, Zach, I mean, Zach keep me, he keep me in a plateau that I can't come down.
Right.
So that means that I have to keep on craft. I have to say craft.
Mm-hmm.
And see, man, I love music. And then, you know what? I had the opportunity to, you know, to fall in love with Danté Harmon.
Come on.
And now, you think I'm playing? I mean,
I'm
yes.
humble. I'm humble.
Yes, because it's something that's pure. It's come from the heart. What comes from the heart reaches the heart.
Yeah.
See, a lot of musicians, they love to play it, and they love to play other people's stuff, and they love to play this. But when you play from the heart, it's come from the heart.
Yeah.
And it reaches the heart.
Yes.
So those are some of the guys that I mean, that really shake me, because I was determined to not to play the steel. I was determined to play the guitar. But when the Lord told me, no, you will not get it. Right. And I cried, and I was so upset because everybody else was learning.
Right. Right. I'm glad you said that about the generation. And I want Mike, Tyner, and Zach, y'all chime in on this. I think it's so interesting. Mike Wortham, you said, you know, your son, he makes sure he bring everything in perspective, like, you know, to try to merge that generation. Yeah, I think it's important because we have a lot of as we call seasoned musicians. You know, I remember coming up, there were a lot of guys who were more seasoned, and they were more, you know, versed in what we do. How was it and this is for Mike, Tyner, and Zach, and even Justin, if you want to chime in, when you guys seen these guys in their prime and doing what they do, and even some of the guys that are still playing now, how do you guys do that? As far as, you know, you're young, you know, working it in with them and making things work and happen. How do you make that? How do you make that transition?
For me, I'm growing up when I was sitting around watching Mike, watching Johanna and Andrew, not even real that once I got older, back then they didn't know, they might have knew keys didn't know like change, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, none of that. So they only knew first, second, third changes. So when I got older, and I started realizing that, you guys was totally playing off the spirit,
right?
Complete spirit. When God come in, God take over, and they will play off the spirit changes they will make sometimes. Man, I remember my mom's first sermon. When she preached her first sermon, man, Andrew and Johanna, they was playing, and the spirit came in, dude, and they made some changes that was like I've never heard them. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no communication. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no communication going on. They were just totally playing out the spirit, and I used to watch them, sit there and watch them all the time, and I'm looking at them, and I'm knowing they never looked at each other, but the spirit made them go to certain changes, it was unbelievable.
Right.
So
wow.
And so to get older, and for me to get older and start playing outside of, just Church of the Living God, and playing with praise and worship teams, and playing, and playing other musicians, and learning the communication musicians have. Hey, it's amazing, to start not knowing any of this and learn from the older musicians how to totally play spirit. And when I add playing with the spirit and add music communication, it's on a whole different level.
Right. Wow. So Mike, you want to? That's some good stuff. Mike, you want to chime in with that as well, Mike Tyner?
I guess the difference from myself was here in Alabama, we didn't really carry the long name like Mississippi did. Because you think about it, if you just take the Wortham family alone and the Wofford family, you can make up a schedule as far as what Sundays and Wednesday nights and revivals that they could play. In Alabama, we had our select food. We got Fred Bernard Burton, which is Bishop Penn's son from Ohio, grandson, excuse me. So you had, him and his cousins, Devin and Tyrone here in Alabama. And we had some guys coming time, but like in-house Alabama musicians, we didn't really have a lot of people. So growing up, I probably was almost 10 before I ever really got into learning something about Bishop Harrison, because all we ever knew here in Alabama, I grew up listening to footy, grew up listening to Johanna, Andrew, especially when they came to Alabama, like I spoke earlier, they came in the early 90s. Right. And we grew up listening to Running. So as far as music-wise, Running was almost like our Mecca.
Okay.
Because that's all we knew. So
right.
As I got older, man, we started, because Running was it. And then when I tapped into Running, I tapped into his son Jerry's, of course, we had a couple weeks ago. So we started listening, then started listening to Robert. And then I never, that's who for at least 3 or 4 years, I was trying to find every recording that I could of Running and Robert together. Wow. Because if you saw those two together 9 or 10 times, Bishop Manning was in town. Right. That was her band. You saw Robert 9 or 10 times, you're going to see Bishop Burns, and then you saw the Henderson sisters. So growing up, man, I say I was influenced by pretty much everybody, but as far as the terminology, watching those guys like Big Mike, I say Big Mike, but I mean Deacon Wortham, no disrespect. When I sit down beside them, and I'm good. Like the second you link up with somebody like Big Mike, and I call him Big Mike because I'm Mike, so Big Mike, we both Big Mike, but I call him Big Mike since he old. So when you sit down and actually, he can attest to this. Me and Big Mike just played for our first time playing together. I want to say it was last year or either earlier this year before the COVID-19 kicked in, and immediately it's a click. Now I have been following him all of my youth, so I'm humbled. Like I'm literally like, oh man, this is Big Mike. And then you sit down and he's the only guy I want to say probably around that still play with this whole steel bar. He don't play like with the one that got the finger slide, and he got the look like almost like a silver steel railroad track with a red big old bar. He's the only guy I know that still play like that.
That bar, listen, that bar is broken in.
Man, listen,
that bar is sanctified.
I promise you, his certain slots on that bar. That's how long he had it. And just to sit down and play with him and actually what I have enjoyed is sitting down, listening to guys like Big Mike, and growing up listening to tape recordings of Andrew and Johanna and all the other musicians that I listened. The beauty of it was still trying to do exactly what they've been doing, not so much copying everything that they're doing, but learning how to be settled and seasoned, not letting my youth and knowing where I'm going and things of that nature, learning how to still, because, I started off when I was 3, and I probably until I got out I actually didn't get any schooling until I was about 18.
Wow.
But, playing for a while, it was great, take the technical part of playing guitar, but actually, man, just like how Zach said, man, just staying within the spirit, man, not trying to add, learn, get in your position and sticking there, what I'm saying? Not really trying to jump the horse or, get in front of everybody else, but get where you is, lock it in, and allow the spirit free course and learning how to flow, because a lot of musicians have lost that, have lost the insight. They want to play all the tunes and all the licks that they know, but they can't watch leadership in the church as far as what the spirit of, is flowing in as far as the service goes. So I say, if anything, I would tell to the younger musicians, learning how to focus on leadership, because growing up, literally, if we weren't looking at the back door as far as who was coming in, we was looking at the pulpit, because you start to feed off your leaders, because that's going to start to tell you where your service is going and sort of, reading off the spirit of leadership. So I would say, minus the, staying true to, the foundation of sacred steel music, I would say definitely focus on leadership.
This is good stuff. And it's good hearing it from you guys, the way you're talking it, because you're teaching, whether you know it or not, a lot of these young guys that are your age, how to merge and how to fellowship and how to blend with the seasoned musicians that have been around. This is really good stuff. Brother Cole is joined us. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, man. Listen, man, tell everybody who you are, man, and where you from and what you do.
Man, my name is Gernarro Cole. I'm originally from Kansas City, Mississippi.
Come on, talk to me.
I grew up with the Johannas and the Mike Worthams, and man, I can honestly say it's been a privilege and an honor to play and be taught by those guys.
Yeah.
I started playing drums. That's the only thing I've been playing. I've been playing it ever since. Johanna has taught me. He was my mentor. He actually taught me how to play the drums in the Church of Living.
Wow.
He always was on me. He was like, hey, you can't get on here doing all this hoopla. Just give me a straight pocket beat, go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the pocket and go with it. Also, I now reside in Tupelo, and I play with Teon and Jamel and James Stephen, and that's about it, man. I mean, just listening to you guys, man, and my cousin Justin. I'm gonna give y'all a funny story about Justin. Me and Justin used to stay into it when we was younger by playing the drums.
Okay.
I used to get so mad at him. I was like, man, I can't wait till he leave. Oh, I want to play the drums, so I can't wait till he leave.
Uh-huh.
But getting older, it made me realize, hey, your time is coming. Your time is coming. When it came, I'm glad that it did. And Justin, man, I love you, man. You always been a mentor to me as well, you know what I'm saying? So, and Deacon Mike, all the other ones before me, I mean, y'all have been placed in my life for a reason, basically.
Well, I'm glad you were able to get on, man. This is really, really good. Just to hear the history with you guys and to know how you guys developed, started off. It looks like I got another guitar player that just joined in with us. You want to introduce yourself, sir? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think we can't hear you. Okay, I think he's still connecting to his audio.
Okay.
There we go. How you doing?
How y'all doing?
What's up, preacher?
It's all good, brethren.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing
good. Let everybody know who you are, man, and what you do.
Well, I'm James Stephen Wofford, what's left of him. And I play I play music in the House of God, the Church of the Living God, Pillar and Ground of the Truth, which he purchased with his own blood.
Yes, sir.
Been doing it for the last, I guess, over 40 years. So
wow,
that's basically it. Love the Lord, love his service, love music. Love you guys, love it all.
We love you. I've had the pleasure of meeting James several times when he's come to Atlanta, and he's one of those guys I was talking about earlier. Like, he's a beast of a guitar player, but just as humble as he want to be. Like, he's just so, just the coolest cat you ever want to see. Like, you just, like, it's like, how does this guy just sit back here and chill and play the way he plays, but is just the most humble guy, and is just so enriched. Like, he would give up his seat to let somebody else play so he can go dance. That's just the kind of guy he is. Listen, I know that for myself because he's that dude. So it's a privilege to be around musicians who aren't so haughty and who aren't so hot-headed or to be just arrogant. I mean, just you guys, all the guys that I've met, and most of you all I have met, just humble, and I love that. And that was my first impression of you, Brother James, when I first met you in Atlanta, and we took pictures and we chatted up, played together.
Man, we had a good time, man.
Humbling experience.
Hey, send me a copy of that clip, man.
I will.
For real.
I will.
But all the other guys, man, hey, this is my family. These are my people, you know.
This is a family affair. This is a family affair. I see Jamel. Jamel is trying to log in with us. I don't know if he can. You hear me, Jamel?
Yeah.
There he is.
There you go.
How you doing, man?
What up? Can y'all hear me, man?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What up?
What's up, Pam? What's up,
Hey,
Pam?
it's all good.
How you doing?
You know what? I feel pretty good.
Good. Good.
How about you, man?
Man, I'm good, man. We've been talking. Everybody's been bringing your name up, and I think Andrew was the only other person that we were trying to get on that we haven't connected him. But Jamel is other gentleman that I met. He came to Atlanta. We hooked up the first time. This guy can play. Real smooth steel player.
Yeah.
And he wanted to hear me play, but I wanted to hear him play.
Right.
So Jamel, tell everybody who you are, man, what you do, and how long you been playing, and where did it start for you?
Well, it all started. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It all started with me with the Saturday Night Live album.
Okay.
Well, it was a record. It was a record then.
Yes.
Back in the '80s, and when I heard that tune on that, you know, that tune, you know, when they Ronnie and Gammy and the guys, when they broke out with that tune on the Saturday Night Live record.
Yes.
I would listen to that until I got it, you know, and I remember my dad coming home from work, and I'm, you know, 5, 6 years old, man, showing him the guitar part on the Saturday Night Live record. And that was the first time I really got introduced to the steel guitar.
Wow.
To the point to where I was paying any attention to the steel.
Wow.
Because, man, I was a drummer.
Okay.
And I still love to play the drums now. I just never get a chance to play. You understand that?
I get it.
Yeah. But and so I heard the steel, man, on there, and fell in love with that sound, man. There's no more beautiful sound than a steel guitar, man.
Yeah.
And so I went from there, and I've been playing guitar probably, man, I'm gonna say about 30 years, I guess, man.
Wow.
Probably steel guitar, probably 27 years, something like that.
Wow.
drums forever, you know, bass, and that's about it, man. But
wow.
All in the house of God, man.
Yeah.
I did some secular stuff on the square in Oxford.
Yeah.
I did a few gigs up there and whatnot or whatever, trying to, you know, get out there and make a little money on the side, you know, in the secular world and all that. But it wasn't for me, you know. So I stuck with the spiritual music, man, and so that's where I am. I'm gonna stay there until the day I die.
Yeah. And you guys, man, and you heard all the years that he's been playing, and he wanted to hear me play. Can y'all believe that? He wanted to hear me play. This
Hey,
Tay.
You the man.
Hey, can I say one thing?
Yes, sir.
I don't even feel right being on here without giving homage to where I actually come from with the music, you know. That's far as my brother Arthur Wortham, C.J. Edmond,
wow,
and Deacon Harold Wortham. You know, they laid down the tracks of what we call now the basics. And Arthur took up time to show me, you know, actually how to tune the guitar, how to play the guitar and everything. So I idolized him, you know, as my idol of learning to play music, because see, Arthur played for all the choir, the Calhoun City Choir and everything. So I picked up everything, you know, in behind him, because like I said, you know, I wanted to play like Arthur, you know.
Right.
And he actually, I when I talk to anybody about music, I have to give them praises, because I wouldn't know nothing if it had not been for them taking time to show me the basics and show me, you know, what they knew. So I just want to put that little part in there.
No, man, I'm glad you asked, because I was getting ready to ask both of you guys, you and Jamel, how you started off. I'm glad you said it. You know what's so humbling is to hear you guys talk about it and bring up those people who really influenced you. You know, sometimes we forget about those folks that really brought us over. You know what I'm saying? The ones that helped us when we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what a tune was. We didn't know what an E, a B, a G was.
Now we arrived now.
And and to see the young guys merging on with the seasoned generation of musicians. This is such an example, you know, for not only, you know, musicians, but just anybody in general that is meant that you want to be mentored, or you want to be a mentee to some sort. Man, you got to sometimes humble yourself and sit down and be taught.
Yes.
There were times that I couldn't do what I do and be what I am, and I'm still trying to, you know, challenge myself on so many ends. And a lot of you all, whether you know it, you inspire me, and I get a lot of, you know, there are a lot of musicians who I look up to, and it sometimes it's not a direct thing, but it's an indirect thing, but it's just the things that I see that really influences me. So it makes me feel good to see you guys, not only as family, but just as musicians, and how everybody meshes together. So are there any things that you guys do in Mississippi where you guys are, where you all get together? I mean, it seems like a lot of you guys are multi-instrumentalists. So I hear steel and guitar and drums. So I think any service, y'all could probably all switch up and play. Pastor Brenda sent me a clip, and I had to look at it about 6 or 7 times. I think it's your Mike Wortham. I think it was your
Fifth
your
Sunday.
Nephew.
Yes.
A cousin.
Yes. That's my nephew, Alex.
Yeah, Alex. He was on steel.
And Jamel.
So somebody was on steel. I think it was Alex was on steel at first.
Yeah,
he was first. And he was playing a worship song, and the spirit got high. Got up off the guitar. Jamel got on. Jamel tried to play a little bit. He got up. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, I was blown away. Like, talk about that. Like, it's hard to tell musicians, you know, it's hard to teach humbleness. How can I say that? it's hard to teach. You know, it's got to be demonstrated. It's got to be shown. You know, so I mean, Brother Mike Wortham, I know you've been around. I know you talk to a lot of these guys, and you probably taught a lot of them. You know, just by being who you are. That was to me an example of just what it is to just know. Look, this ain't my turn right now. I got to get up. I got to get mine in.
Yeah, I mean, you can see when you are in the spirit, it does not take God, because Christ, his anointing take over.
Yeah.
So you automatically move yourself out.
That's right.
So in that particular service, I mean, Alex was just kicking, and then by the way, Arthur is my brother.
Wow.
That James was talking about, that's my brother.
Okay.
So you know, but when the spirit moves, it means that when somebody move and then go and give him a praise, Jamel came in and got right into it because the anointing they was in, they went straight into one another's shoes and kept going.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Jamel started shouting, James came right in, and you could not tell who have changed.
That's right.
Wow.
You could not have. I mean, because Alex and Jamel is a traditional steel player.
Okay.
But you could not tell when James came in either, because the spirit was on all of them.
Yes.
It was in the house.
Yeah.
The spirit was in the house.
It was.
That whole entire from the beginning, from the first song of that service that day till the benediction.
Wow.
That the spirit was in that place the whole time. And I was actually on the drums when that happened.
Wow.
At first I almost panicked because I didn't know what was finna take place.
Right.
But me and Jamel can contend to this. I talked to him about this before. Sometimes when the spirit moves, it can jump off of another person and get into you.
Yeah.
And me and Jamel had talked about that like some months before that service had even occurred. And he told me the next day, he said, man, you was right. He said, I don't know what I felt. He said, I probably would never do that again. He said, but what I felt then, he said that was nothing but the spirit. And it just flowed through that whole service, that whole day.
Yeah.
The whole day.
Wow. This is amazing. And I, especially in a climate where so many things are going on with a lot of us, with the Black Lives Matter, movement going on. You see this platform that we have, and for those of you all that are out on Facebook, thank you all for joining with us. Please like and share this post with everybody. And just to see you all on here, Black men serving God. How about that? Yeah. Black men who love God, and we worship him and praise him with our instruments. And what's so amazing is to just have these kind of conversations and talk about the spiritual aspect about, what we do. This is amazing. I know, Teon, you've been around these guys forever, man. And I know you the preacher. You the preacher of the bunch. And Teon plays keys as well. How is it, Teon, being around all of this talent and all of this anointing, man, with the family?
Listen, man, I think I might be the only one on here that's done played with everybody.
Wow.
I think I'm not for sure, but okay. I done played with Mike, Zach, Justin. I hadn't played with Mike Tyner, but we was in service together. And I remember we did a revival in
Atlanta.
In Atlanta. And I didn't know Mike. And the guitar player was late. And so they were like, well, Mike gonna play. I'm like, who was this dude, man? He don't know how to play our music. I didn't know Mike. Man, Mike came in and got to playing, man. I said, hey, you the one, dude. You the one. But I played with Cole, and I played with my uncle, my Uncle James, and my cousin Jamel for years.
Wow.
Here in Tupelo. And He played the guitar. He played the guitar and the steel. He didn't teach me how to play the drums, but he taught me how to play drums in service in church. Just a difference, you know. You know, I think you're just playing the drums, but he taught me how to play drums in service, when to do this, when to do that, and the straight beat. My cousin always talk about the straight beat, or they say keep it in the pocket. You know, right. I'm not a roller. I'm in the pocket drum player. Yeah. And so I play with all these guys: Mike, Justin, Zach, everybody. And when I moved to Atlanta, I knew Dante, but I didn't know Dante.
Right.
And he pastor got him to play at we had a singles conference. Yep. And I was over the songs or whatever, so he told me to sing the songs of Dante, and I sent the songs of Dante. And Dante is, man, I tell Jamel about Dante all the time. He's calling me, we got a dude to play piano up here at our church. No. And I was playing the piano first, but you know, I was just beginning to play. And Dante used to come to church sometimes, you know, every once in a while, but he hadn't joined the church. And so the Sunday he joined, I never forget it. That was a burden off my shoulders right there when Dante joined the church. Because Dante, man, this dude joined our church. You know, we had a little small church. Yeah. But this dude can play at any church in Atlanta. But he chose to play at our church, and I was thankful for that. Yeah. But this is how bad Dante was. We had this guy won Sunday's Best, and he came to sing at our men's conference. And he had a track playing to sing his songs because his songs weren't even out yet. So once the track got finished playing, Dante was playing the song that he was singing. And I'm like, how's this dude playing the song? He ain't never heard the song before. And then he was playing so bad, I threw a towel at him while he was playing, man. This dude is sick, man. You know, I played with all you guys before, and all you guys are awesome. Zach, before I moved from Mississippi to Virginia, Zach was playing the guitar, but when I came back, he was playing it way better than he was when I left. I'm like, this dude done turned to a little Jimi Hendrix. You know what I'm saying? Like all these guys, man. Mike, a beast. My Uncle James, a beast, a vet, and my cousin Jamel, he one of the best steel players we got in the Church of Living God. But don't nobody hardly know about him because he not on social media. He don't post videos and nothing like that. But he is a beast at playing the steel. And
I agree.
He's like
go.
Hey, he's like a Bishop style player. He grew up on listening to Bishop Bishop Harrison, but he's so bad that he play new school as well as he play Bishop style music. You know what I'm saying? Oh. And the whole time I was in Tupelo, every Sunday, me and Uncle James, I got hundreds of tapes we used to record. Wow. I used to keep me a tape player, and so every Sunday record. I got hundreds of tapes we played, man. And it's just been a blessing to play with all you guys and to be around you guys.
Thank you.
Seriously.
This is good stuff. It's good stuff. Jamel, you were saying something?
I was just saying what Teon was saying. It's the truth, man.
Yeah.
Man, we would sit back and dissect tapes. Me and Teon, you know, he would bring tapes back from the assembly and everything. And he said, man, you got to get this right here. You know, something that a new tune that Ronnie and Kim or Jay and Ronnie may have came out with, or Robert Cook and Jay or whoever. Yeah. And we would dissect the tapes, man, and replay them and incorporate that into our services. Yeah. The songs and everything. And Andrew was a catalyst for me on guitar. Yeah. But I would say I wouldn't know anything about music if it wasn't been for my dad. Yeah. My daddy, you know, trained me, raised me up, you know, on how to play and how to be sensitive to what's going on in church. Right. And another thing that's important that I learned throughout the years is that the singers is just as important as the musicians. Yeah. When you got some good fiery singers, they bring in songs that I call them songs that have spirit in them.
Yes.
When they singing songs that have some spirit in them, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, and Sister Mary Helen, you need to do a documentary on Mary Helen.
Okay.
Mary Helen, man, is one of the most dominant singers in this organization, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Junior Boy's sister.
Okay.
Yeah, Junior Boy's sister.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. This is some good stuff.
Listen, you can ask the other musicians, man.
Oh, listen. I take your word. I take your word.
But as far as music, man, Dante, yeah, like Teon said, man, Teon has opened up my horizon on the steel.
Wow.
With the keyboard.
Wow.
Because many years in Tupelo, it was just the drums, guitar, steel, bass, and we've always had congos. We've had bongos.
Yeah, I noticed a percussion player.
We're a little different. You know, we're a little different. We got a bongo player.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And not only does he play bongos, he plays the harmonica. He plays the cha-chas, you know, and everything. You know what I'm saying? We got a whole percussion over there, percussion section, you know, with Cole and Deacon Eddie Charles, Edmonds, Deacon Edmonds. Oh, man, they got their percussion section. They going off over there, man. I'm serious.
Wow.
And it's a pleasure. And the name of our band is called the Tupelo Inspirational Band.
Tupelo Inspirational Band.
That's the name of our band.
Listen,
and
y'all inspiring me.
Well, thank you, man.
I'm telling you, man, every time I hear y'all inspire me.
God bless you,
I hear something, and it's something about a sound that is anointed. And when you guys play, I can tell you guys spend time with your craft. You spend time with the music, and you spend time with the Lord. You can tell.
Yes, sir.
It just, you feel it. You feel it in the playing. So whatever y'all doing, man, keep doing it, because it's blessing me. It is definitely blessing me. One of the things, one of the things I admire so much about you guys is, and I said this earlier, is the humbleness. You know, when you all are together, when you play, but the musicianship. You know, you guys can play. Y'all can play, you know, and that means that's, man, let me tell you something. It goes a long way. You know, the Bible talks about having skilled musicians, you know, that's you know, we don't talk about it as much, but it's something. And when I hear you guys talk about how you know, Bishop Harrison, Ronnie and Robert and some of those, you know, that came before and they laid a foundation for you guys to kind of flow in and under, and Brother James talked about his brothers and so on and so forth. It sets a precedence on how you guys are, because you can hear it, you can tell. So I always, this is really good. I'm so glad again that you guys are on here. You all need to check out these guys. What'd you call them, Jamel? The name of the band again? The Tupelo what?
The Tupelo Inspirational Band.
The Tupelo Inspirational Band.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna add on with some Alabama swag with Mike Tyner. Since we got Mike on here.
Dante.
Yes, sir.
Can I talk about Alabama for a minute?
Please, yes.
Man, one of the coolest steel guitarists is Brother Scott.
Okay.
Brother Scott from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that guy is awesome on steel guitar. And I remember when the guys from Alabama, when they really couldn't play. Really, to be honest with you, Bernard was the main musician from Alabama. Was Bernard?
Yeah.
Now you had I think his name was Derek and Tyrone. Then they were starting to play, but they would come to the on the program. Me and Justin, we was called the Wofford Boys. That was me and Justin.
Okay.
I was on guitar. Justin was on drums. We was kids, man. And Derek and Tyrone them from Alabama, they couldn't play music at that time.
Okay.
So what they would do, Dante, they would make music with their mouth.
Wow.
You know, and
how we all learned. That's how we all learn.
That's right. That's right. That's all I want to say.
That's good. That's good. Mike, do you know any of these guys? Mike Tyner?
Oh yeah, that's who I was making mention of. Frederick, Bernard, and the Scott. Scott he talking about is Elias, which is my cousin from Troy. Now that was growing up. That was a band. Originally, I started off playing drums here in Alabama, in Troy. I played drums. Elias was on steel, and another of our cousins named Emmanuel Scott. He was on guitar. So as E-Man got older, he started, working more jobs and started working on Sundays. So I was like, oh, he got my spot. So I started playing guitar.
Right.
And then my dad, Deacon Tyner, I started playing drums in Troy. And that's how I actually got my chance to play guitar. And the connection came with Mississippi. It was just like, if Mississippi came to Alabama, or especially when social media got high, I was able to connect with a lot of other players. So, I mean, that was the opportunity. But I would say the greatest thing that I think the greatest thing that happened to me as a musician as far as the church goes was the embarrassment. And I know that sounds weird.
No,
but it took me being embarrassed as far as trying to, as a young musician, trying to get to the point where I wanted to play all the time. I want to play. But I never forget something I learned as a young man going into church. It's better to be axed up than axed down.
Yes, sir.
Come on. Say that again. Wait, say that one more time. Say that one more time.
Be axed up than axed down. I think that's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me was being embarrassed. At the time, I thought life was ending. But now that I'm an older man now and I'm grown, I start realizing, man, the embarrassment is really what saved me. And I think if the younger generation, I've witnessed it because I get the opportunity to play. I get an opportunity to play. I do, studio work, and I do some tracks, things that nature at home. And, I've had the chance to go up to Nashville and, play around some, other cultures and races and things of that nature. So it allows you to be, that's my humble to start it from the church. But, man, I think if the new generation that's coming along now can get to the point where they're actually okay with not being next right now, like just waiting your turn, like everybody has spoke about, like waiting your turn, because you got to just wait your time out, because a lot of times you can be the greatest guitar player, steel player in the world. You can be the greatest. But if you go into a service and you just hop on music, you gonna ruin the whole service. You can ruin it. You gonna ruin it. Because when we grew up, if you late, you don't play. It's just that simple. Not because nobody mad. You late. You're not in sync. You rushing. Your mind ain't here. You're not in tune with the service. You're gonna ruin it. You're flat out. You're gonna ruin it. And we know you can play, but this not your time. So I think if the new generation just come up with the understanding, the idea of the embarrassment, like I said, because I guarantee every single person on this live, and that's probably listening to the live and on the Zoom, I know we all been through embarrassment, man. I grew up in the time where other musicians out of the church living God would tell you, hey, no, bro, you ain't no good. Not because I was so sorry, but they were trying to get my spirit humble. And so I think that was one of the greatest things that happened to me, was actually being told, no, player, sit down. And you know how embarrassing it is to walk up front with a guitar in your hand and somebody tell you to go back where you came from with that same guitar.
Right.
It's embarrassing. So it took an embarrassing moment for me to get to, man, it's embarrassing. You walk in front, la 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 la, and then somebody point back, and then they just didn't whisper to you. They pointed, so everybody would see it. No, bro, we just. So you walk out there with your guitar, they're like, nah, we straight.
We good, right?
Going back to the car with your guitar, your fresh pick, and come back in and you have worship with the service. But as far as playing, man, that's a done daughter. But I think me being embarrassed was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, man.
I'm glad you shared that. I'm glad you shared it the way you shared it. And I always end the shows with something that you can give. You kind of already started it, Mike, and I appreciate you sharing that story of inspirational things that we can leave to each other, that are lessons that we've learned, some wisdom tidbits to give to other musicians to help them be better. And that story already, just starting off, that's a humbling, and we've all been there. We've all been there. We showed up late. We thought we had it together and we didn't, and it doesn't matter what you're playing, whether it's drums, guitar, steel, to be a steel player is, especially in the organization, because this is the leading instrument.
Right.
That's just like the preacher. Right. You know, it's time for him to preach, and he ain't where he's supposed to be, or she's not where she's supposed to be. You know, it's that type of thing. But that's good. Footy was on here. He said, "That's good teaching, Mike. That's good teaching."
Oh yeah, man. That's another guy. My brother. He's my brother's pastor there in Philly. Well, I'm not exactly sure what city it is, but man, Footy is another phenomenon. I grew up. I will never forget when Dale Ray first came out with everything, and they got on Reggie Footy Covington. Man, the Pink Panther changed my life.
Yeah.
With the foot, man, I'm talking about that changed my life, man. I'm talking about when I heard that, I was just in awe. But I wish we could have got Andrew on. I don't know if he's on live or not, but man,
he chimed in the chats. He apologized. Man, listen, he couldn't get on.
I will never forget. Like I said before, I knew a Bishop Harrison. When they came to at the time, I was a musician. Well, my parents were members at Bishop Scott's church in Troy at the time, and Bishop Morrow was still alive. She came to Troy, and the praise and worship leaders, going back to what Jamel said, was 3 fiery folk. You had Tony Harrell, you had Angela Traylor, and you had Sister Brenda Dross Wofford. Now at this time, Sister Brenda Dross was skinny minute and would bounce the whole praise and worship. But those are praise and worship leaders. Now, and Zach and Jessica can attest to this. At that time in her youth, you wasn't gonna be on the dance floor or singing. None of that. Now she chill now. She chill, she laid back, she do a live, but listen, growing up, those are 3 praise and worship leaders. Then on Steel, you had Johanna Ruff. Andrew was playing guitar. You had Deacon Amalie, which is, of course, Sister Brenda Joyce's husband. And I say sister because that's how I grew up, not to not acknowledge him as pastor and deacon. Yeah. But man, when I tell you I was a little boy, and I will never forget, Tony Harrell was on this tape, and he said, "I'm not tired. I'm gonna shake it off. I'm gonna pack it under my feet, and let's get elevated in God." And I remember hearing Johanna, whoa, whoa. Andrew came behind with this, Johanna said, "Wow." Ow! Man, the whole place exploded. I can hear that whole, as I'm speaking, I can hear that track. And man, I remember Big Juicy from Mississippi. I'm talking about everybody coming down the aisle. You know everybody coming down the aisle, buddy. You gotta be on that down. Man, when I tell you that little place.
Oh, did.
And so ever since that whole it was Bishop Scott's birthday weekend. They came down for the whole weekend. That's the weekend that changed my life as a musician. Yeah. Because I listen as I ain't gonna say seasoned, but as a musician who started to learn how to listen. And you listen to how Johanna and Andrew could communicate musically without ever speaking a word. And they came out, man, that tune, all them tunes that whole weekend, man, I built my own little library of Johanna and Andrew. And like I said, I never got to actually play with Johanna before he passed. And I've never physically played with Andrew, man. Listen to those cats, man. Even I think JK would text me the other day, man, talking about, "Oh man, you a beast, you this." And I was like, man, to even be connected with those guys, like you know, had the opportunity to play with you in Atlanta, Dante, and walking down the hallway, and I hear somebody call me, "Hey Mike." I turn around and Derek Campbell.
Yep, man, I remember that. You know, I got the picture.
I got the picture as well. I posted it when I was shortly after he passed away, man. But to know that I've allowed God to use me as a vessel.
Yeah.
And over the years, and not so much, I'm not some great musician. I don't consider that, but to be humbled enough to actually see what people have, seen growth in myself when I don't see it a lot of times, because looking in the mirror all the time, you don't always see your growth. But a lot of times, someone that hasn't been around you as much, they see you like, "Oh man, you've grown." So it's encouraging, when I'm having a rough day at work as a law enforcement officer, and I pick up my phone, and Deacon Wortham is on my phone, way in Mississippi, and I'm over here in Alabama, and he just say, "Hey man, encourage you, love you, brother." It's things like that encourage you to continue on, man, as far as who you are as an individual. And for him to be as seasoned as he is and send me a recording of he and I playing together, I'm like, man, well, I'm still humble, but it's like, man, I feel like I'm all right right now. If I don't do nothing else, I think I'm all right.
Yeah, man. That's you know what? That's an honor to be able to be able to even get that, you know, from those guys and the way you do. Listen, y'all, if y'all don't know Mike Tyner, Mike is a riot. We were in Teon, where we were at Cheesecake Factory in Atlanta after service in Atlanta. Man, we laughed so hard. Mike had us. Am I lying to you?
Yeah,
we were rolling. We had the best time together, man.
I tell folks all the time, if you can't laugh, you might well die. Laugh is good. So, I mean, listen, I'm being real honest. Listen, sometimes you're a little low on funds, you got more bills, you got money. Sometimes you gotta look back and laugh at the bills. Ain't least get mad. So somebody gonna get paid, somebody ain't gonna get paid. So they gotta laugh your way. All right, you gonna get paid this week. Excuse me, Miss Jenny, you're gonna have to wait another 2 weeks. I appreciate it now. Hey, look, if you can't laugh, you might as well die, man. And I tell you, man, that's the beauty. That's what I love about music. And I believe I would speak for everybody. It's that going to place, man. It just where the music allows you to go and how it, you know, allow, you know, musically, theoretically, there's only 8 notes from A to G.
Yeah.
12 if you include sharps and flat. So what amazes me about music is you can take those 12 notes and you can have so many variations from, I mean, if you want to, I mean, from history, I mean, you go from the Renaissance age and Bach and Johann Sebastian to the nowadays, you know, to the nowadays tracks, or you know, from the Runnings to the Bishop Harris, and those are all the same note. But God has made music so beautiful that it's allowed to speak in so many different languages.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because the notes still are the same. But how people always say, man, well, because I don't have the opportunity to play in Church of Living God services all the time, but I get a chance. I get to, you know, play a lot of quartet. I'm like, man, well, how you get your chuck like that? How you get the chuck like that? And man, if you only knew, this chuck came from, I was my own bass line. We ain't had no bass line. I didn't get a bass player, so I started playing with some House of God members. So you your own bass, and Zach can attest to, you your own bass line. Yeah. A lot of times you gotta be in tune. The steel player, especially your steel player, to do his job. The drummer, like Cole said, stand in the pocket. I don't want to hear all them riff raps and licks. I want you to give me a little hi-hat, little snap, occasional cymbal crash, maybe 2 or 3 tones.
Right.
I don't need you to move nowhere. I need you to be real humble. Man, that's what I love about music. It actually excites me because music is so simple theoretically.
It is.
How God has took it and transformed it. And it's just so powerful, man. That's what I love about it.
It is. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go around the feed. I'm gonna start with the younger guys and then work my way up. So Justin, I'll start with you. If there's anything that you can leave with some of the other musicians that are your age and around your age and are doing some things as a drummer, what would you leave them? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them to first stay humble.
Yes, sir.
And whoever you play, I mean, watch your crowd. Like you said earlier, watch your leadership. Because, you know what I'm saying, you watch your volume control and all that. But listen, whoever you playing with, listen to each other, you know what I'm saying? Because if you listen, you can see if you're going to make a change. Different things. But really just stay humble and pay attention.
Yes.
To whoever, like if you're playing for a choir, always listen to your leaders. Whoever with the band, pay attention. But humbleness, the main key.
That's good stuff. Zach.
I would say, man, learn. For one, study your craft.
Yeah.
We write all the time. Study your craft, and be adaptable. Because not always. A lot of times, growing up in Church of the Living God, that's all we know is Church of the Living God music. And then when other musicians come in with another pastor, you know, you can't convert everybody to Living God music. So I say, man, you got to be adaptable to other musicians. And once you can do that, it's great music can come out. And if you trying to convert them to straight Church of the Living God and they trying to do their own thing, it's a whole music war. And, you know, music is designed to have spirit in, you know.
Right.
And when it becomes a distraction, it's easy for people to hear it. So my thing is be adaptable, and like they all said, man, make sure you listen to your leadership. And I can say that now. Growing up, that's what we was taught in Mississippi. You know, hey, remain humble. Humbleness was the main thing. James, my dad, Deacon Mike, all always taught me, man, you gotta remain humble. So, like my brother said, like Mike said, man, humbleness is the main.
It is.
You open and anything.
It is. It is. Thank you for sharing that, Brother Cole.
Well, something that you said last week on the show, the 5 Ps. Come 5 Ps, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you don't mind, because you relate to it, please.
Wow, I was joking with the guys after we got offline. I said, man, Brian straight preached when he talked about those five Ps last week, and the interesting thing was I actually wrote them down when he said it, because seriously, because I was just like, yo, that'll preach. He said, pray, practice, prepare, be patient, and just simply play.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That was some good stuff.
That's good.
That was some good stuff. So I appreciate you checking us out last week too, Brother Cole, man. I really appreciate it.
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it from the first one until now. I enjoyed it.
Me too.
Thank you. That means a lot. We're gonna do a whole lot more, but I'm just excited to just have you. The world needs to know about these guys right here in this feed from Mississippi and Alabama. For real. So, Brother Jamel, talk to me. There's a bunch of musicians, man, that are steel players and guitar players, and you seasoned, man. What advice would you give them?
The advice I would give is to be in tune with the service. Mm-hmm. The service is something that if you're not playing, that don't mean that you on Facebook. That don't mean that you're outside doing this, doing that.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, I just lost it.
Alex was the fifth Sunday where me and Alex played together and everything. That was due to the result of being in tune with the service.
Right.
If a musician is playing and you're getting into it as well, when that musician get happy or whatever, something may happen or whatever the case may be.
Right.
If you're in tune with service, you're able to jump right in there and to pick up and keep on going.
Yeah.
And the second piece of advice I would give is make sure that you respect the elder musicians that's older than you. Mm-hmm. Right now, let's say we at church and you walk in, I'm going to ask Mike, I'm going to ask you, would you like to play?
Yeah.
That's just respect.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there like I don't see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, with all the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into this music game, bro. You know, and Deacon Wortham, I do him the same way. Deacon Wortham come to Tupelo. Mm-hmm. First thing I do, I ask him, hey, Mike, come on, man, come play, you know. And I let him tell me, no, go ahead. You know, and I don't see that respect level out here anymore. And I wish we could get back to that. And last thing I would say is be true to yourself.
Yes.
True to yourself. Because you're only going to be as good as God allows you to be.
Right.
You know, young musicians, you're not going to be Mike Wortham. You're not going to be Danté Harmon. You're not going to be Zack.
That's right.
And Mike from Alabama and Justin and Cole, you know, and James Stephen, you know. I remember when I was coming up, I wanted to be, you know, James Stephen and Johanna and Gammy and, you know, me, Justin, and Angelo Wortham. That's another great musician that I don't want to leave off of here.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, we would say, yeah, you know, hey, I'm Joe Hanna, I'm James Stephen, and like you said, we would play music with our mouths and everything. But to get to your question, man, to get to your what I'm supposed to be doing is giving advice. Is man, take it serious, man.
Yeah.
Take it serious, bro.
Yeah.
Because music, being a musician, it's not like being a preacher.
Yeah.
You know, you can get up one day and say, guess what? Hey, I'm a preacher. And now, guess what? You're a preacher. But being a musician ain't like that, man.
Yeah.
It's something that God gave us to do, man. You know what I'm saying? And so take it serious, man.
Yeah.
Me personally, I laugh, I joke, I trip. You know, I like to have fun, all that.
Yeah.
When they come down, when I sit down and behind that music, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious. And so I would say, man, just take it serious. And I want to say one thing too, Dante, and I'm gonna let you go.
No, you good.
Is when we heard Pink Panther in Mississippi, we wasn't really just rocking with it like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to Foot, we appreciated it.
Right.
We appreciated it. We said, oh wow, that sounds great. But we looked at it more like a show tune.
Right.
You know,
right.
Versus a tune that has some spirit in it, and like a tune that you would play in service. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I will tell you what Up North tune really, really made a difference in Southern music. And that's Jesus is the Best Thing. When Robert Cook them came out with if anyone should ever write my life story, Jesus is the best thing. I don't know if you ever heard that.
I have.
Yeah, but that right there changed the dynamics of Southern music. That tune there, and the tune the doom 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 doom. That right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I remember that.
Down here, man. Because normally, you know, we stayed under the umbrella of, you know, the Bishop Harrison style, you know, the Johanna style. And Mike has always had his own style. Mike Wortham.
Yeah.
And not only his own style, Mike has the best bass runs on the bass string ever of all time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And Mike he'd come down on that bass, man. Boom, 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 boom. And you can just fit, man. You're like, whoa. You know, then he'll come with that high and make it holler. Ah! You know, Mike is
Man, hey, you telling the truth. I appreciate that. That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. So I'm gonna go to Teon, and then I'm gonna go to James, and I'm gonna end with Mike. So Teon.
Yes, sir.
What advice would you leave your peers and some of the other musicians?
I just want to say that over the years I've seen all these musicians go from like here to here. Both Mike, Big Mike and Little Mike, Dante, Gernarro, Mel, Zach, Justin, Uncle James. I mean, so I would say it didn't come by overnight. So I would say to the advice I would give is to always work on your craft. I didn't start playing the keyboard until 2009. I always wanted to play, but I never did take time out to try to learn how to play. And one day I just said, you know what? I'm gonna learn how to play the keyboard. Mm-hmm. And once you get something in your mind that you're gonna do it, keep that same thought in your mind and don't give up. Keep that same thought in your mind until you accomplish it. And I will say to all musicians to always make sure that your character and your integrity is on point. That's what I would say. Yeah. Because you don't want to mess your character and your integrity up. Yeah. Yes, your gift will make room for you, but you can be in the room and not get noticed.
Wait. Say that again. Say that one more time, Reverend.
I said your gift will make room for you.
Yes, sir.
You can be in the room and not get noticed. So always make sure that your character and your integrity is always on point.
That's a word That's a word. You could be in the room and not get noticed.
Yes, sir.
I don't know who that's for. But that is a word. That is a word. So brother, and I appreciate you, Teon, man. We go back some years, man, and it's always been a pleasure every time I get a chance to see you and we in Atlanta and playing together, man. It was always an honor to just play with you and just to be together, man. You my brother for real.
Yeah. Hey, I miss those days, man.
I do too. I do too. Brother James Wofford.
Yes.
Tell me something. Give these young guys some advice. What would you tell them?
First of all, what I want to do, I want to give honor to a few musicians.
Yes, sir.
That I know. Johnny Smith, Pastor Emma Mara, my pastor Ted Roach.
Yes,
he's an active member in our church band. He's our bass player, a phenomenal bass player. I don't want to leave anybody out, like Paul Wortham, Orlando Russell. These are some names that you probably hadn't heard of in a while.
History. You're giving us some history.
But these guys, we all came up through the ranks together. You know, Quay Lee Wortham, Jerry Fleming, all of the older musicians and stuff that paved the way up to right now. You know, I thank God for them. And if I would leave a word with us, I want to give a shout out to Ronnie Gammy, all the up north musicians. You know, I love you, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because what we need to do is what you're doing. Connect the music.
Yeah.
Because what the music is, you can have the music. To me, the Lord showed me that it's a tiller. Yeah. It's a ground tiller, a soul tiller for the word of God to be planted.
Wow.
So we have to get our mindset to till the ground of the soul in a way to where the word can take seed and take root and flourish.
Yes.
Because we're in our last time. We're not playing just to entertain ourselves.
That's right.
This music that we're playing, if it's not touching anybody, go ahead and cut it off, man. You know, just go ahead and just play to yourself.
Right.
Don't play this music out loud just to be playing it for yourself. Have an intent that you're trying to touch a soul. Right. You're trying to till the ground to where maybe you don't have the word, but it's somebody that's standing around could plant a seed in that soul that would help them to be saved or help them to know Jesus Christ. Because we're living in the last times right now.
Yes, we are.
Like my son said, this music has got to be played in a serious manner.
Yeah.
And like I love all you musicians, man, you know, because we're all connected. We're connected for a reason. I mean, Church of Living God, House of God, wherever there's music being played, we're all connected because we should have the same intent, and that is to give God the glory and the praises through the instrument that we play.
That's right.
That's
good. That's really good. I'm glad you mentioned those names. I'm sure there's so many people that are on the platform that have probably never heard some of those names. I know I haven't heard some of those names before, but I'm going to be researching, and I'm pretty sure my brother Delray Grace, he's going to be researching some of those names as well. And I can almost guarantee you that we're going to figure out something in how to pay more homage to these musicians. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. The connection, to bring everybody together, the fellowship. You'd be surprised, and I said this before, a lot of people hear the musicians play, but he never heard us talk. They never heard us voice or say anything or hear us just speak.
Right.
There's more to us than just sitting behind that instrument and doing what we do.
Behind the music.
Yeah.
Hey, I got one more thing.
Come on.
The biggest highlight of my musical career was here we had a assembly here in Mississippi, and the overseer, Bishop Jewell and Bishop Harrison, them all was here. And at that time, we had a Mississippi Mass Choir.
Yes.
And we sung this song, me and my sister led it. It was, "What Is This?" And after we got through singing, Bishop was on the steel. Bishop Harrison was on the steel, and I was playing the guitar to the song. And we made a break, and me and Bishop, we began to play. Me and Bishop and Pastor Mara, I believe it was, we began to play. It seemed like the church just, it just erupted in there. But not so much of what I was doing, it's so much of the honor that I got was to play with Bishop Harrison, you know.
Wow.
And I mean, that completed my musical career, really, you know, actually, back then, you know.
That put the stamp on the resume.
That put the stamp on it right there. I just wanted to tell that.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Last but not least, brother Mike Wortham. Listen, I'm just honored that you helped me get all these musicians together. I'm just honored that you would even just take time out of your schedule. You talk about how I was honored to talk to me. It was an honor to talk to you. I listened to the stuff. Unmute yourself. I listened to your you playing with the other musicians. You guys are phenomenal, and I really do. There's going to be more to this that we're going to be doing in the future, but just for everybody to really get to know you all, I'm just honored that you're here, and thank you for making this come together. And you had the last words.
Well, then, you know, first, love God, and then make sure, number 2, be true to yourself. I mean, and also love your music and love others. You know, it's you can say you humble, but God knows if you're humble or not. So that's why I say you be true. See, a lot of musicians, they feel like they the only one to play. But there is so many musicians is better than me. I always know that it's somebody better than you.
That's right.
And just keep yourself humble and then believe in others. I think James was saying some of the guys, I already had mentioned earlier about some guys that like Paul Wortham and Orlando Russell and all the other people. Remember where you came from. And then when God give you a gift, know that it's for him and him only and for his people.
That's right.
Because then God will make a way for you to be in places and even in venues that you had never thought you would ever play in. But by you being humble and then knowing that God know your heart, it's true. Your heart is true. It's come out on your music.
That's right.
Listen, Dante, I know you understand.
I do.
Whatever you are thinking, just like Teon was saying, like some others, whatever you doing, whatever you talking about, whatever you saying, on your skill, your music is gonna come out through your heart.
That's right.
So in other words, you know, your craft is good, but your heart got to be right as well. And then also I give love to all the musicians, all the way from Mississippi and California, all of them. And listen, and to you, thank you for showing us. Like I said, a lot of people from the other world or other churches may not know anything about Mississippi music.
Yeah.
But you took time out. Even a great musician like you took time out and to talk with us.
Absolutely.
And listen, and I appreciate that.
Listen, I appreciate you all, man. I appreciate you all. You don't know, and that's something my grandmother taught me. My mother taught me, you know, all of my, elders in the church, humbleness. It'll take you a long way, you know. And you guys, I've listened to tapes from Mississippi and didn't know who I was listening to. You know, I was listening to some old tapes from back in the day and stuff that I've, you know, got my hands on. And I just know a sound when I hear it. I know, I just know it, and it's divine. And I'm just grateful that you all took the time out, and I wanted to make sure that everyone knows who you all are. And we're going to be doing more. And I know there's going to come a time when things open up. There's going to come a time when we are all back in our churches to some degree or some way, shape, or form. And my prayer is to see us unified. My prayer is to see everybody together, doing something together. I don't care what city you from, what denomination you from, and you know, House of God, Church of the Living God. It don't matter. You know, we are brothers and sisters in Christ, and I think to have that and to be able to have that platform for us to just sync everything and we all just mesh together. That's heaven on earth, you know.
Yeah,
we people pray the prayer, and I'll end with this. And I sometimes I don't think we realize what we praying. We say, "Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth, is in heaven." It's already established in heaven, but we're trying to get what's established in heaven right here on earth. And I think if we really get that mindset of bringing heaven to earth, that's what we're here. We're just agents. You know, it comes through the music. And I just believe that, you know, there would just be a whole lot of miraculous things that would happen. So next week, first of all, thank you all. Thank you guys for just doing this. Thank you all, you know, Mike, Tyner, Brother Cole, Zach, Teon, James, Jamel, everybody. The names that Andrew, I know he couldn't get on. All of you guys, Justin, that were on this feed. Thank you all. I really do. I want to show more love to you guys. And again, this is not going to be the last time. If it's not on this platform, it's going to be on some other platform, and it's going to be in a big way. So I'm just excited for that. So yeah, everybody that's out.
Next time I want to hear somebody play.
I do too, Mike, because it's too much on here for us for nobody to have played.
I was just waiting on somebody. I said somebody got a guitar.
Somebody gonna play. Somebody gonna have a guitar. We gonna get in something.
I mean, I can't. I thought we were gonna play. I ain't gonna sit there. I just wanted to hear a tune or two or three. Hey man. But and tell Andrew, since he couldn't get on live today, he got to come on next time by himself.
Yeah, we gonna have to do something. We got to
do a guitar tutorial.
Yeah, we're gonna work something out, and I'll get in contact. Andrew, what'd you say, Teon?
Andrew a bad boy too, man. That boy cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna figure out a way to make that happen. So for everybody that's in Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in this week. Thank you for your patience. I know we talked a lot, but this is some great information. I was so honored to have these guys on here. And next week, Reggie Footy Covington from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he will be with me, and I'm excited to dive into some great conversation with that brother, and some great interviews coming up in the weeks to come. So thank you all again. Thank you guys for doing this. Y'all stay here, but we're gonna say bye, Facebook. Thank you again for joining us on Sacred Steel.